G'day, g'day, and welcome back to another episode of The Experience. By now, I hope you know it's your captain behind the mic, your boy, the one, the only. I'm speaking about myself in third person. Fucking hell. Bradley J. Dryburgh. Stoked to have you guys back here. We're here for, this will be episode 77. It's been a journey. It's been a minute. We're here in the HQ, the studio. Jonah's not on the brews today, but Benny boy, good job. I like it. I'm a fan. Trying something new. We're trying the long black with a bit of runny almond cream on the side. You know how it is. We're charged, and I've got to be charged because this man's sitting here with a Bang energy drink. He's ready to go. So if you're watching this, you'll see, especially if you're from the Illawarra, you'll see that I've got a character here that most of you will know, either off social or just from being around town. Wollongong's a small place. We're just sharing many stories, how everyone links up and seems to come together in some way, shape or form here in the Illawarra. But if you don't know this man and you haven't recognised him and you're not sitting behind a screen, well then he deserves a bloody good intro. They call him the Mullet Lord. He's known for his innovation of CrossFit and bodybuilding called cross-building, or as he likes to call himself, the cross-building ombudsman. Ladies and gentlemen, from your home, your car, or wherever you are, give a very warm welcome to the one, the only, Logan Cole. How are you, brother?
Good, man. Good. That's a good intro.
Bro, they're just freestyle. I like to throw them off the cuff and challenge myself a bit.
That's really good. It's like quite close to that Tom Billu. Yeah, have you heard him do it?
Yeah, he's good, bro. You're giving me a rap there.
You were about like a third of the way there, I reckon.
Yeah,
like almost
33%. Not bad.
Yeah,
not
that's
bad.
really good.
We were just chatting, and we actually decided just to jump in and throw this pod on because I feel like there's going to be heaps of gems and heaps of laughs that come from this little story here. We're talking about how I'd sort of first come across Logan. And it was a couple of years back now, mutual mate of ours, Joshy Whitehead, had started a podcast. And I remember Josh messaging me and saying, hey, going to start a podcast. It'd be cool for you to come in and talk about your like chronic health stuff, but also a little bit about real estate for like young people at the time because I was in the game. And so he sent me an address and I went to, Jake Lapham's house.
Yeah, was it the garage?
It wasn't
that you went to, like.
So that was Joshy's house, the garage.
Oh,
right. But I done two with Josh. So the story is the first one.
Yeah.
We went to Jake Lapham's house, and I didn't realise, but I get there and they're like, the house has got like silver paper all over the walls, like, and I go, what's going on here? And he goes, oh, we're having a Martian party tonight. So they were setting up for a Martian party. There were lights everywhere. There was heaps of stuff going on. And we shot the podcast, and I think there was an issue with the audio, so I went back and shot one in their garage.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was like four of us. It was me, him, Benny Forst, and Jake, and it was just like, and Dan Constable as well. And it was just a good laugh.
Were they the other two that were in my podcast? There was two other guys. There was two other guys.
Ben's a big fella.
Yeah.
Dan's a singer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was funny times, man. Going back a few years now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a while. Because, like, what was the topic of that? Was it my bodybuilding?
I think you were doing bodybuilding at the time, hey?
I don't know if I just finished or... I just
you
finished.
Were prepping for a show or something like that?
Okay, so it was, like, that close. Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They definitely... That was, like, the topic of it. And they were just, like, asking me about dieting and stuff like that. Like, it was just, like, the process of it and... all that, and yeah, it was kind of like, it was a very like humorous take on it, which I love, because like everyone wants to talk about like bodybuilding like it's some like crazy serious thing, like it is to an extent, but like we were able to shed like so much light on it and just like laugh about it.
You know what I reckon? And like I used to be right into the gym.
Yeah.
So you can't tell that as much these days. I'm just a run
You're
boy.
You're a fit guy though.
I'm a run boy, and I used to love like getting in the gym and ripping a few weights, and was obviously when you're doing that, you're invested in the bodybuilding world and you're kind of following those people on social. And two of the guys that I followed at the time, who I think probably have a very similar approach to you, where there is great science and great thought behind it, but it's a whole there's a whole heap of fun brought into the element and the way they communicate it. Is Chris Bumstead and Callum Von Mogger.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like those boys have such similarities to the way that you communicate your fitness message.
Yeah.
But obviously you've been through a whole transition because it was very bodybuilding show and now it's this what we call crossfit.
And before that it was rugby league. Like so I've gone like from.
So is that the beginning of your journey?
Yeah. So I played league from your first year is under sixes. I played that when I was 5, and then I went up went through kind of the system a little bit, like played Illawarra reps, played Harold Matts, went into SG Ball, did my ACL when I was 18. Probably the worst time I could have done my ACL. Yeah. It's like I did my ACL on the Saturday. On the Sunday, I turned 18. So like I could drink, I could go out, but I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, you would have been filthy.
So yeah, and it just like that was like where I like originated from. Tried to go back to league, like back to my local club, and there was just a bad experience there with like a new coach that they brought in.
Yeah.
I didn't get a run in first grade, which I was communicating like that's what I wanted. I was playing good footy, and it turned me off it. I went to college for 2 years, and played 2 years there. Everyone gave me a stick about like going there for money and stuff like that. And I was like, look, it's like you guys can talk shit because you are in the first grade team, or you're getting a run, or you're getting a shot. It's like, yeah, you can say that all you want, but like I'm going for my own personal reasons. I went and played with my mate there. Actually played with Joshy Whitehead there. Yeah. And like his old man was like coaching and stuff as well. So that was the first year I was there. And I did 2 years there. And then, I just kind of like stopped playing footy, and I was like, I'm going to do the bodybuilding thing now, and started training and stuff.
You're always a pretty thick boy, but
Yeah, always was like, but in different ways. Like I remember when I was playing for Collies, and I was like, I want to get like make 110 kilos. And I got up to like 105. But I was eating like, I didn't even know like the calorie content of like fats and carbs and all that. So I was eating so many carbs. I was just like so bloated. Like I wasn't eating enough protein. I just know like thinking back, like what I was eating. I'd eat like 6 bits of toast with like a can of baked beans, and like it's just like, and then like these like muesli bar things that used to be like at Woolies, and they were like, I don't know, they're like the size of like an iPhone Max, and it would be like thick and had like choc chips and stuff in it, and it was just this like big carb load thing, no protein at all. And I just remember I got to about 105, and I like couldn't do my shoes up. Like I was just like so bloated, like, and that was like the first experience of like kind of trying to bulk, you know, like just eating like whatever. But I've always been a big guy, but like not comparatively, like my dad is like 118 kilos and like jacked, like not overweight by any means. Like he's
don't you hate that? Like my old boy's still got me covered.
Yeah.
Like, and you go, fuck.
Yeah, my like you see like so many of like my mates like going through like footy, and they get bigger than their old man. It's like, oh yeah, because they're trained and stuff. And my dad is just like a brick shit out. So like, and I just like, so like, it's like always in his shadow.
My old boy, we got this thing going. It's a little family tradition that I don't even know how it started, but basically, you know, around Christmas time, I don't drink, but everyone's having a few beers and starting to get a little bit rowdy and talking about how, you know, back in the day, this and that. But see, my old boy, my pop, is still pretty fit. Yeah. And Pop's had 2 knee replacements and a stroke, but he's still in, you know, decent nick for his age. And we've got this thing where like you pop the bonbons and the little measuring tape comes out. Yeah. So we go like arms, chest and back, calves, and just see who's still got everyone covered. My old boy fucking flogs us every year. Yeah. So,
well, I like kind of like my dad has like the record in at the Steelers for like 199 kilo bench press or something like that.
That's mental.
And like even in when in my peak of my actual bulk before my bodybuilding comp, I did a 170 for a single, and there's no way I was doing any heavier than that. And he's just like, he threw it up. He's got that record, I think, still to this day or something.
How old is he now? 55?
55 now, yeah.
That's right, we said our old boys are the same age. Yeah. You know what's interesting? Like, you said that there, 170 in your peak for bodybuilding. Obviously now what you're doing is heaps more athletic. Yeah. Are you stronger now than you were then?
No, like in terms of like, I swear like I could, I was benching then, my bench press has always been like so strong. Everyone's like, oh yeah, like your squat or like X and Y, like my legs are probably like, no, I'm thinking back now. I'm definitely not stronger. I'm more like athletically strong, as in like I have better mobility. Like my biggest lifts then were like a 170 bench a 260 for 2 sumo deadlift, but I did sumo because I couldn't bend my back over, or I'd be out of action for a couple of days just from lifting that kind of weight. So I sumo deadlifted, and I think I did a triple at like 230 squat or something like that. But I was 110 kilos. Like I couldn't do anything. I was just like...
What do you weigh now?
I'm about... Waiting this morning, I was like 99.
Because you're thick, bro. Like I knew you were going to be thick, but this is the first time we've actually met. And you walked in here today and I was like, fuck, bro. Like you're heavy set, man. And you move too. You can move. Like I watch all your vids on social.
Well, you see me try and move over that box in the 21.2, bro. Oh, then I was like demoralising, so bad.
Bro, my body is so different, right? So like, I don't reckon I've ever been strong. I reckon I was stronger when I was like 17, 16 than I am now.
Like your newbie gains.
Yeah.
It's like,
I just reckon like I dislocated my right hip probably 2-3 times.
Yeah.
Like late teens.
Yeah.
And I've always struggled with mobility. It's actually gotten better as I've started to run and been a little bit more mindful of it.
Have you also lost weight?
Well, I was...
No, because you would have gotten taller and like put on a bit of weight and stuff like that.
For a long time, I was like... See, I was carrying a bit of that like chunk. You talk about bulking before. I was probably similar where... It's funny because when you grow up with cystic fibrosis, everyone's biggest fear is that you're going to be have malnutrition. You're going to be malnourished.
Yeah.
And most people are, like, they're on a very low percentile of the growth and height and weight scales. For me, like, I never really struggled with that.
Yeah.
But I can eat, bro. Because of being a kid, they're force-feeding you to, like, make sure you don't have that issue. I know how to eat some food. So for a long time, I was, like, packing in calories, like, in my late teens that... I was probably carrying a bit of a dad bod, really, especially through real estate, bro. I had the biggest dad rig.
Yeah.
And then coming into the running, I went from 88 to 76.
Okay.
And I'm now about 80, 79, 80.
Yeah.
But feel heaps better than I did.
Yeah.
Far more athletic. Like, I could never run 2Ks before, let alone, like, what I do now.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I'm definitely not near as strong.
Yeah.
And I need to do a lot of work on my lower back core area, I think, for some of those compound lifts.
Well, one of the things that I actually heard the other day it was like a Q&A by this guy called Clarence Kennedy that I follow. Yeah. He's insane, like, weightlifter that I just follow. He just like lifts crazy weight, kind of like for fun, like. And he was like talking about how he's strongest in the squat was when he was, say, around 100 kilos, but to be better at his snatch and clean and jerk, he had to drop back down to like 94. Yeah. Like, because it fully, like, as I said before, I was 105 and like I had to like hold my breath or like completely blow out to like go down and like tie my shoes properly, because you just don't have that mobility. So you're limited in that sense. Now, like even now, like I lack a little bit of range because I have put on that extra weight, like with all this stuff with like the gym and like what else happened? Mainly just moving into the gym and like these new systems, moving house. I just moved into Wollongong and I was planning to lose some weight for the CrossFit Open and I put on weight. I was just like, look, I'm working, like I need to be like going and like viewing these places, doing computer work, and I was like, who's gonna diet in that time? Like I'm like, it's not the time to diet. You don't need anything else like messing with your head, like by cutting calories and stuff like that. So I ended up putting on weight, and then I'm at the CrossFit Open. I like said I was like at 95 kilos. I'm like, I'm gonna get down to 90. I got down to like 94, but I hadn't got myself to like a regular calorie target, so I was dropping down from God knows what number as my maintenance, and I wasn't losing weight. And then I just gone, nah, stuff it. This is too much on my head, and then I just like I went back up weight. So yeah,
it's a weird process, isn't it? Dropping weight. Like for me, last year was probably the first time in my life that I've really like, because I find it, if I'm consistent, easier to drop weight. But I also find it really easy to put weight on. Yeah. Like, I'm not the sort of person who just sits around the same number all the time, bit of a floater. Yeah. And last year was the first time I've, like, effortlessly lost weight, which is, you know, when you're running 50, 60 Ks a week, like, that happens. Mm-hmm. But this year it's been, like, a real battle with the scale, like, trying to stay below 80. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, I just want to eat.
Yeah, one of the things you said when you're being consistent, that's like number one. I was so inconsistent. Like I would get takeaway here, then I wouldn't eat for a day, and then I'd do that. Like it was just like all over the place. And think about like, if your body isn't getting enough nutrients right, whatever weight you're at, your body's kind of like, okay, if this is the energy you're going to give me, this is what I'm going to work off of. And then you'll like, some days you just feel tired and stuff. And it's just like, that's because this is all the energy that my body's going to kind of give me, like in layman's terms, you know, like it's just like, that's to put it simply.
Will it adjust, right?
Yeah. And then so what I'm doing currently is, and this is what so many people are scared of doing when they try and lose weight, is hitting higher calories for a consistent amount of time, and then your body gets used to that, then it's easier to drop. So at the moment, I'm aiming to hit 3,000 calories a day, and then when I go to 2,500, I'm in a 500 calorie deficit from whatever I was. So if I can stay hitting 3,000 for like 4 weeks, and then I drop to, I don't know, 2,800, you'll lose body fat from there.
Yeah.
A lot of people just go, I don't know what I'm eating at the moment, but I'm going to start eating 1,800 calories. And then they feel so shit. And it's like, you wonder why. Like, you're not eating anything, and you were eating like you were going out for dinners, and that's perfectly fine. But you had a like obscure like number of like what you thought was your, that they put their BMI or whatever into a calculator on the internet, and they go, okay, I'm supposed to be 2,500. Yeah. It's like, yeah, okay, you're supposed to be 2,500, but you don't do 10,000 steps a day. You do 5,000. All these factors come into play, like when you're trying to like work out what your maintenance calories are, and then that's just like, and people are scared to put on that extra 2 kilos before they lose the 5, because you put on 2 kilos at going up to 3,000 like myself, but you lose the 5 easier because now you can drop down, whereas you are going to lose a kilo eating 2,000 calories and starving yourself because you hadn't done the work to like do the other stuff first. But yeah.
Do you track?
I used to track pretty regularly in terms of like, I paid for my Fitness Pal so I could see the protein I was hitting and stuff like that. But now I put it in maybe one day, and then I'll be like, okay, what's that? And then I'm like, okay, I'll try and hit that. Like at the moment, I've just got like Up and Go Energizers in the cupboard at the gym, and then like some protein muesli bars. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to try and hit about 150 grams of protein. That's like my main goal, is to hit a protein, because in CrossFit, you like destroy your body. You just need to be able to repair it. And if you don't, you go into the gym just so sore all the time.
I reckon that's why I survived last year's like run prep, because I was eating heaps and getting in probably for the first time in my life. Once again, actually, let me digress there. Before, I'd focused on protein, but probably too much. Like back when I was younger, trying to build muscle.
Yeah, you're
like
growing out.
You're going
like
full
more
bro
protein.
mode.
Yeah.
Full bro mode.
Yeah.
And then for the first time in a couple of years, I was like, okay, make sure I'm getting good protein in every meal, clean protein.
Yeah.
And I wasn't taking any subs, just like magnesium, and I was sweet, bro. I felt like I recovered easy.
Yeah.
I could do a 30k run. Yeah. Come home, be completely fucked. Yeah. Throw my like Recov boots on and build a Chico's burger, and fucking the next day I'm sweet.
Well, have you seen that? I don't know if you've read the book or you've heard of him, that Ross Edgley that did the Bro. And have you read his book?
I haven't read his book. To it? I've listened to a lot of the him do a lot of podcasts on certain parts of the book.
Yeah. He I'm like listening to his book at the moment, and he like talks about how you just eat everything. Like to do that kind of like training, you just eat everything. And I think one of the things is like, at some point you don't need to overthink it. Like unless you're doing a comp and stuff like that, it's even you know what? Even when you're doing a comp, like you were saying about like how you eating clean protein, and I'm just like having like Energize Up and Goes, and like I was just having, if I needed to get protein in, I'd take 2 scoops of protein like in a shake with that much water, and like bang, just like kind of like shot it, and I was like, just get it in. And it's made to be such like a confusing topic when it's actually like so easy.
Do you think that's because people are trying to make money off it?
100%. They're like, oh, this is the protein. Like, oh yeah, like buy this cookbook. It's like the cleanest like protein sources that you'll be able to find, and all that kind of stuff. It's like, everyone that's bringing out their own method of something is trying to make money. Like, okay, yeah, I'm doing like this cross building thing, which is a mix of like bodybuilding and stuff. It's what I'm doing, but I'm bringing it out as a topic that, yeah, I'm trying to differentiate myself.
Yeah.
From other people.
Yeah.
And like I don't care about like admitting that. Like, you're trying to be something else. I also don't want to be the guy who like goes on and talks about rotating my wrist at the top to get a better like head on my bicep, you know? Like, it's just like I don't know, like everyone's like doing that, and as long as like I guess as long as you're actually doing it and you're not bullshitting people, then like sell whatever the hell you want, you know?
Yeah, I agree, bro.
Yeah.
I agree. You know what I'm really interested to see and hear from you here is, we talk about this cross building. I want to dive into this a little bit more because one of the things that I wish I knew, like I was a young PT, I was like 17 when I was a PT and felt like everything I'd done was like, I just had a lot of lady clients who just wanted to lose weight, and we had some people coming through getting great results, and I never focused on any of the dietary stuff. It was just making sure they got in for a good workout and they got their professional advice for that sort of stuff, because it definitely wasn't my field of expertise.
Yeah.
But looking back, I wish I knew more about my training as I trained as a young fella. Like, I reckon I spent too much time focusing on twisting the wrist for that better pump of the bicep or the better head of the bicep, or, doing this leg extension and turning my foot out so it hits the inside. I should have just been fucking squatting, deadlifting and benching, really, and getting the basics right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something now that in today's modern era of training, we've got a better understanding of how important the compounds are, how important the athletic movements and the mobility of training is.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the benefits of doing that really functional strength-based work. And do you think it actually has sometimes like better growth potential than just getting in bodybuilding per se?
I would say the reason, like where I came from, obviously I did the bodybuilding. This is how I like came to terms with it. I did my bodybuilding comp and I loved like what my physique looked like. I went from 110 kilos. I went down to 80. So I was 80 kilos when I went on stage. Some could say that was a bit crazy, but I look back at it, I'm like, I looked fucking awesome. Like, I loved how I looked. I probably looked a bit better at like 85 kilos. And I would love to like be able to get back to that. And it will be a goal eventually, I think, to get back down to kind of that 80 to 90 kilos and just look good, right?
Yeah.
When I finished bodybuilding, I did my comp, and it was one of those things where I was just like, fuck this. Like, the day after I did it up at the Sydney Fitness Expo because I didn't want people paying $110 a ticket to come into the RSL to come and watch me. So I went up and did it at the expo because it's like $20 a ticket.
Yeah.
There's a massive crowd there. Like, you get to stay up in Sydney. And I did that there. And then after that, I was just like, it's over. I'm not going back into prepping. I'm done with it. I went outside, went to Guzman, Y Gomez, got a burrito, got a Corona, and I sat down there by myself and like ate it like full tanned up and everything. And I'm just like, fuck, thank God that's over. Like, I'm not, because heaps of people are like, oh, okay, now we get to have a cheat meal and then go back and then like look at our diet again and like do a bit of a reverse diet and then diet back down. I was like, nah, man, that's not happening. I was like, I'm done. I did what I said I was going to do. And one of the things when I was deciding if I was going to bodybuild or CrossFit before the bodybuilding comp, which was back in like 2017, 2018 maybe, something around that. But I said, I'm either going to do CrossFit or bodybuilding. And then I looked and I was like, bodybuilding has a means to an end. Like you do your comp and it can be over. Yeah. Whereas CrossFit, you kind of like, everyone's addicted to it. Like, it's like you do it and you never stop. So you can compete, you keep competing, you eat a lot of food, you lift some heavy weight. So I was like, I'm going to do the bodybuilding. I did the bulk, did the cut. After that, it took me 2 weeks to get back to 93 kilos. I went from 80 on stage day to 93 kilos like 2 weeks later. I was eating so much food because everyone was also like, my clients are like, we'll take you out for dinner. So I'm going to Outback. And like, the last week, I was eating 1,700 calories. I was eating 1,700 calories at dinner some nights, including my daily like food and stuff. And I just went, boom, went straight back up to like 93 kilos.
How did that feel?
oh man, like I didn't care. So many people talk about like, oh my God, my body's going back to like what it was and all that kind of stuff. And I was pretty freakish, like being shredded, but like I love food and stuff. Like I love hanging out with I love hanging out with my mates. Like that was one of the things, like, you don't get to like hang out with people because everyone's out. You can, but I was like, I'm just not even going to involve myself with being at the pub and like everyone eating schnitzels because like I'll be tempted. And then I just said like, so I'll just like, I was living by myself at the time, so it's so easy to go home and like no one's there. And like the fridge only has your food in it. And like, it's so much easier. There was one night I had a real bad headspace, probably about 8 weeks out. And like one of my cousins came down from Cronulla, we hung out and we just like got pizza. This is mid-prep. We got pizza, like had drinks, went to Bulli Heritage and watched this band. I had this massive blowout like mid-prep. And it didn't do anything though. Like it's like I think I put like 2 kilos on for like a day because it was mainly like the sodium from like the pepperoni on like the pizza and that. So I had that massive blowout, and then it was like it didn't really affect my mood because I was able to like go back to that and like enjoy hanging out with people. It wasn't that much of a. It wasn't that hard, to like do that.
I reckon, see, that's the one thing that I reckon, even if like, I was going to say I wouldn't go stand on a stage because I like my food too much, but there's 2 reasons I wouldn't stand on a stage. First, because I'm fucking look far too shit if I'm standing on a stage. But secondly, because I enjoy that. Like, I enjoy the fact that like I could just order a coffee then and not have to think about like, oh fuck, do I have to track this? Does it fit? What I'm doing today, you know, go and have like... I long run on Wednesdays, and my joy is like long run and then Chico's. Like, fuck, it's the best. Yeah.
So I did that, like pretty much regress like straight away, and then after it I was kind of like, okay, so because I'll just go off on a tangent like that and I'll completely forget what I'm talking about. I'll do that. That's and then I'll be like, wait, where was I going? But I just remembered then. So. After that, I was like, okay, I'm back to 93 kilos, like 13 kilos off my weight. That just took me like 6 months to get down to. And then I was like, okay, like, what do I do now? Like, I tried to go into like any time and like do some bodybuilding training. I was like, what's this for, bro? Like, why am I leg pressing now? Like, why am I trying to push weight? And I kind of like, took me a little bit like, of, I wouldn't say soul searching, but it was kind of like, oh, what do I do now? And then I was like, oh, fuck, like CrossFit. And I was like, at the time I was training at a gym in Wollongong, and there was a CrossFit gym across the road. Yeah. And I was like, do I go there? And I go, I actually had to like cancel that membership because I was like, I didn't like the vibe there that much because it was all bodybuilding. I was kind of like, I need to get away from that. And I was like, I didn't really want to go to this CrossFit gym across the road because it was across the road from it. And I was just like, I want to stay out of there. So I just look up CrossFit, and then it came up with CrossFit Wollongong, which is in Fairy Meadow. Yep. And so I've just gone in there, started training. I sucked at like Olympic lifting because I'm like so rigid. I was so rigid from like just like my forearms are so tight, so I couldn't do a front squat properly. I'd always cross my hands over the front to do front squats. I couldn't get my hands above my head and do a squat, so I couldn't snatch really. I could do like box jumps and stuff like that, like little agility movements. But I just like kind of kept at it. I went every day, 6 days a week while the gym was open. I went to class every day, no matter how sore I was. And I just got like obsessed with it. About 3 months in, the first CrossFit Open, so the CrossFit Open that just ended, it was like the 20.1 or CrossFit Open 20 or whatever it was called. And I did that, went okay in it. And I've just kind of like was going through that process, and it got to a point then after a while of being completely like immersed in it, where I just said like, okay, my physique isn't really changing doing CrossFit because despite what people think and they see CrossFitters and they're all so jacked, like those CrossFitters that they see are doing so much other training other than the 15-minute WODs at the gym. Like you do a 15-minute workout and it completely wrecks you, but that's not a crazy stimulus. 15 minutes of training can only burn so much body fat. It can only grow so much muscle. You need to still be stimulating that muscle to get it to grow. So I was looking, I'm like, okay, I'm completely wrecked from these workouts. I want to keep doing them because they push you. But I also like now that I've like kind of past the bodybuilding thing, I also like the way you can build your physique through bodybuilding. So the way I came up with cross building is I took the elements that I liked from CrossFit. So your Olympic lifting, like 3 days a week, your cardio, and then also some strict bodybuilding stuff. And there was a couple of times where I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be the program. And I did it and I could like barely walk for like 3 days. And I was like, okay, I need to dial back the intensity. I have to look at what the stimulus is and stuff like that. And I ended up just like looking at, I was trying to find ways to like program off other people. And I ended up just coming to this like realization. I'm like, the reason I can't find any similarities in anyone's programming is just like you said before, everyone's trying to sell something. So everyone's programming is different. So I'm like, why don't I just like look at my programming in the same way? Just like do programming that is a mix. Yeah, there's some structure in the terms of like a 5-3-1 squat and then like a 3-2-1 week and then a deload of like snatches and clean and jerk. But other than that, just like chuck like whatever you want in. I guess there's some people who want to look like real scientific at it, just like in bodybuilding. But it's like some people train too hard in CrossFit, like, and they're high level athletes. I would say like there's guys in my gym who train really hard, and then it came around to the open, and their bodies were just like broken, like. They went into it, and it wasn't even in the open that it happened. It was weeks leading up to it because they hadn't kind of like tapered off and taken it a little bit easier, like leading up, and then it just like wrecked them, and you feel so bad for them because it's like, fuck, like what do you like? Just chill out sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, it's funny, isn't it? I think I've spoken about it on here before with someone. Can't remember who it was, but you know, Faraz Sahabi.
no,
He's Georges St. Pierre's MMA coach.
I have seen,
And he's done that Rogan interview, and he spoke about like being in just a flow state where like you train at like 70 to 80% all the time.
Yeah.
Pick up the intensity where you need to compete or you need to push your body every now and then.
Yeah.
But be in that constant state where you can be consistent because your volume overall ends up being greater.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that theory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
because if you train at 100, you're going to be at 50 the next day. Like it's better to just go 70 to 80 like all the time.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, so for you, like how many days would you be lifting in the gym now?
Look, I legit like probably, I'm not going to say like I'm super consistent at the moment. I've just gotten recently consistent in terms of like getting back in there because I've got my own space now, and I was in there. I didn't have fractional plates, so I was like using that as an excuse not to do an ollie lift, and then I was doing the open, so that was the only workout that I was doing in the week. So I was working out like twice a week, just super intense. But before that, I was like 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
At the moment, this is probably the most simplified way of training that I've done at the moment. It's just a compound movement. So I just put a timer on for 30 minutes, every 5 minutes on the minute. So it's 6 rounds. I'll have a heavy compound movement. So deadlift or a clean and jerk or a snatch or a front squat or something like that. And a accessory movement. So like the other day I did heavy back squats for 5, like just 5 heavy back squats at around 80-90%, and then 10 pull-ups, and then an ab exercise, and you get that done in 5 minutes, and then whatever's left in that 5 minutes is your rest.
Yeah.
So it gives you a structure because if you're in there like not timing yourself or anything, and you're not that motivated, you'll dawdle around. Yeah. So why not just have these 3 exercises? So obviously I've got the big movement, which is the squat, and then the pull up, which is not as intense, then the ab one, which is less intense than that, but then it's almost like, and then it like fades into the rest and then it ramps back up again. Yeah. And so this week, all I'm doing is just those big compound movement, accessory movement, ab or cardio movement, like rower or assault bike, whatever's left of the 5 minutes is your rest, and then you just do that for 6 rounds. And that's at the moment, that's my like training this week, and I want to like ride it and see like what it feels like. Hey.
I like that. Hey, like for me, I noticed last year I was nervous getting in the gym because every time I touched a weight, I was like, don't fucking hurt yourself because you've got to somehow run 20 Ks tomorrow, and like that's hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
But this year, as I know now that like I can do a half marathon without having to think about it. I just got to get hydrated that morning. That I can just like not stress as much about the other stuff, about maybe like tweaking myself a little bit or coming out a little bit sore.
Yeah.
Because I know I've got those big runs in the tank. So I'm trying to work around my training a little bit to figure out what suits me, but also getting a little bit stronger. Because I reckon in the running space, nobody focuses on their strength movements enough.
Yeah.
And it's why a lot of dudes get injured.
Yeah.
They go from lifting weights and being functionally strong to then, I'm going to be a runner. They don't touch any weights at all. And they wonder why their body's breaking down and why their joints feel weak. And
the body's so used to that stimulus, and then they take it away, and it's like, what the hell? And now you're like putting all this pressure like on your ankles, knees, hips, like everything. And I know like me trying to run, like I barely make 7Ks, but I can feel it like in my hips, in my knees and stuff like that. That's where I mainly feel it. And because I've rolled both my ankles pretty badly, my calves just like blow up. Like I get bad shin splints like when I'm doing it, just like on the outside. But I'm getting better. Like I just had to realize as well, like seeing you boys like run like crazy paces, and then there's people who run crazy paces than you guys, and I see like you guys like running like decent, well, like 5-minute Ks, like consistently pretty much, like even quicker than that at some points. And I would have like Nike Run Club like in my ear going, oh, that was a 5:30 K. And then I'd be like trying to pick it up instead of just like run. Like instead of just going, if you're running at 5:40 or 5:50, at least you're not like wrecking your body, because that's not what you're up to yet, you know?
Bro, that was me. I was blessed that I had some really good guidance through my prep. Like Benny Seymour was such a good lad to have in my corner, because where I was like, what pace do I need to be running these halfers? And like the first time you were hitting 20 Ks and 15 Ks, he was like, fucking forget about pace. Yeah. Just run so you feel comfortable, run so you don't break yourself, just get time on the legs. Yeah. And it was the best lesson he ever taught me, because I then at the start of this year, like post that marathon last year in December, I ran 2 halves before the end of the year. Yeah. After, I should have taken more rest. He told me to, I didn't listen. Yeah. Because you're pumped, you know, you're on a high. And then I started at the start of the year, and I was just running too many like sub 5-minute Ks for like 15, like, and just being stupid. Yeah. And Hemi started to tighten right up. Lower back was getting tight. Yeah. And I just wasn't giving my body enough rest, but also allowing it just to like have those runs where you're not always pushing the pace. Yeah. And I think that's why like program and understanding your training is so important. Yeah. And I fell out of, like we spoke about consistency, where it was kind of like I was waking up, oh yeah, I feel alright, I'll run today. Yeah. Oh, next day, yeah, I'll run again. Yeah. And then, oh, now today I won't. Where what got me through last year was knowing Wednesday was long run, Friday was intervals, Sunday was moderate run, and I had my certain Ks I had to hit for the week, made sure I allocated it to those 3 workouts. Then I was in the gym 3 days, and like I knew. Yeah. Where your body gets used to that. Yeah, well that's bro, it's the same as like, as I was starting, just before I got into and started like writing up like the cross building side of things, I was for sure hitting too many 1RMs, like trying to always go for heavy singles. It wasn't a 1RM, but like I was trying to hit a clean and jerk single, like heavy, like actually I was trying to push for a 1RM, so I was hitting like 4, 3, 2, 1 or whatever in my programming. But I was trying to go for a clean and jerk 1RM and a snatch in the same program, rather than like I was just like getting carried away with it. Like I could have done a snatch focused program and then a clean and jerk focused program, and I probably wouldn't have died so hard, and then I had to take so much time off to let my body recover. So it's the same thing. Like you were saying, you jumped into those half marathons, and then I was trying to clean and jerk 130, 140 kilos every week, as well as work up to 110 kilo snatch. And it's just like your body isn't gonna like, I'm most of the time I'm like sitting down at a computer, like doing work or at home or something, and then I'm going into the gym and doing this. My body, like, despite like how I look fit, my body is not conditioned to
be trying to push that volume all the time, nor had I worked up to it. I just jumped in and I was like trying to hit all these big numbers. And it's just like, it's the same thing. Like I just I wasn't strategic about it at all.
Something to be said for intensity, right? And like, it's funny, my brother-in-law, Cal, and I, actually, he's bought some dumbbells off you, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He said to me the other week, he goes, "Oh, I seen the dude you have it on your podcast." He goes, "Does he sell a bit of gym equipment?" I'm like, "Yeah, probably, because he's moving spaces and doing."
I did equipment importing during COVID.
Oh, dead
yeah.
Smart
Got a wholesaler overseas, and got like the first order was like 13 grand. That came in, and then I did another like 10 grand one, and then I did another one more recently. It was like assault bikes and stuff like that, and that was the biggest pain in the ass. But yeah, I did like that during COVID. Yeah.
So Cal bought some gear off you, but we were talking about like the theory of having, like, when you're not an athlete, right? When you're just someone who's getting in training but trying to train competitively yourself and push yourself. You don't understand that, like, when you look at a rugby league player, they have an off-season, they have a pre-season, they have an in-season. When you look at a bodybuilder, they have off-season, they have their building phase into their comp, and then they have their off-season again. Yeah. Why don't we do that as general everyday human beings? And that's probably the one thing I learnt, right, is like, for me, I had everything built up to my marathon in December. Yeah. Then I was like, oh, I've done a marathon now, so half will be easy. Yeah. And it feels easy, and mentally it's easy. Yeah. But if you're pushing yourself, you still feel like you're in season. You need a break. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm almost now, like, I'm having like I've decided to have like little mini seasons throughout the year. Yeah. So now I'm doing like a little 5-week block to work up to a 25K. Yeah. Because I just want to feel really good over that 25Ks on the 10th of April. Strip it back for a couple of weeks, build back up, strip it back, build back up, and probably that third build back up will be for my marathon in October. Yeah. Hopefully feel really good and preserve the body year round. Yeah. But I think it's an interesting theory, isn't it, to have seasons?
Yeah, it's everyone, unless you have like that end goal in mind, I guess, like a bodybuilding comp or a lifting meet or something in weightlifting, there's no time schedule for you, so you just try and like push everything so hard. Whereas, like, just like I said, with at the moment, and I've pretty much said to like all my clients now that my gym won't run 8-week challenges ever again. I'm not encouraging people to lose as much weight as they can in 8 weeks. I want everyone to have a healthy relationship with food. Just come in and train your ass off. Like have a healthy relationship with your training. If you want to have a nutrition consultation with me, it will be separate, like that kind of thing. Like, I don't want nutrition to be like the be all and the end all. Come in, train hard. I've got the equipment now. Like, I've got the gym space. You can get a lot out of just training hard. Just come in, do that. There's too much of this like 6-week challenge, 8-week, 4-week, like booty building, fat loss, like challenges. Like, it's not like you're gonna drop weight dramatically, and then so many people talk about putting weight on just as fast after it. It's like, that's also not the coach's fault. That's your fault for like not looking at what you're supposed to do after it, which is like a reverse diet. Like, it's it's just like, I'm
remembering now that we had a conversation over IG about our the plan we're gonna do together. What was it like?
What was that? What was that even?
I gotta find the messages. We were talking about that, like, how everyone's on fucking like melatonin for tanning and shit.
Oh. Because something happened.
I gotta find it now, bro, because we had a laugh.
Because it was my story, and you like, I talk so much shit on Instagram. So I was gonna say, like, before, when you're introducing me, and you're like, oh, if you're from Wollongong, you might know him. I was like, love him or hate him.
Yeah. Oh fuck, I can't remember.
Wasn't it just like, oh, like you get free like Tren and like melatonin, like, or some shit like that? It was like for signing up. Oh.
Isn't it mental though how now everyone's looking for that quick way out? Hey, it doesn't exist. It does, but it doesn't last long.
It would, to an extent. Like me trying to lift, say the heavy clean and jerk and snatch, right? I could rush up to that because I haven't really done clean and jerk and snatch, if I just work on my mobility and try and hit some heavy weight, I might hit like 5 kilos more. But if I took a few weeks, I might have hit 10 kilos more, you know?
Yeah.
The weight loss thing, people lose weight dramatically. They go back just as quick because they're like impatient with it and stuff like that. So everyone does want that quick fix because they feel like there's a time on them being able to do it. Like, and there really isn't. Like the whole journey, you've got like your whole life to do it. You don't need to get it done in 8 weeks. Like
sustainable habits, isn't it?
Yeah. Like if you can consistently, I don't know, just like consistently eat semi well, consistently train 80% of the time. Like, and as I said, don't train at 100% 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Train at 70 to 80% of the time. Like, it doesn't need to be insane. If that's not if you're someone that works in admin in an office and goes out with the girls on the weekend or goes out with the guys on the weekend or why are you trying to get to 8%, 7% body fat, like in no time at all? Yeah. You might be able to get to 10%, which you will look really good and you'll be happy with it in not 8 weeks. Look at it for like a year, like you'll eventually get there.
Yeah.
And a year out of your life is nothing. I like only recently have I like looked back at like the last 3 years and realized how much got done in like that time and like all the differences I made. Like in the last 3 years, I've lived by myself. I've lived by myself like 2 or 3 times. I lived out of my van for 10 weeks. I lived with my mate, and now like I'm living with my partner in Wollongong. Like I've done so much. Like
it's a journey, eh?
Yeah.
It makes it exciting though.
Yeah.
Makes it exciting.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the gym. The gym. Setup. What inspired you to go, hey, I'm going to set up my own space? We spoke about it before, so I don't know if you follow this guy on social, you'd see the setup is evolving now and getting there, and it's pretty much done, isn't it?
It is. It's there's like the only things that need to come are the ski ergs, and then like upstairs once the DA gets properly approved, I'll do like proper like wall upstairs for the office space and like stuff like that. I think when I first started, so I'm an electrician by trade.
Oh, dead set.
And I kind of like went to my parents one day and was like, I want to be a PT. And I was like a third year, like start of third year. And they're like, oh, you're not leaving like electrical, like you need to finish it. Just like any other parent would say to their kid, like, just stay in it, come on, stick it out, do it. And I was like, I'm not going to do this. If I'm going to be a PT, like that's what I want to do. Like I knew that when I did electrical, it was kind of one of those things that like it was offered to me. So I took it, and that was just the way it was going to go for a little bit. Yeah. And I always, when I was a Sparky, I always talked to this guy, and it's funny, like I'm wearing his shirt right now, Dan and Cam from like Blow in a Bar. So he was a Sparky with me. And he was, so he came from like playing footy to like came back, and he was a second year adult apprentice and I was a third year. And we'd like always joke. Yeah, bro.
Because I know he was here for a minute.
Yeah, he lived in the Gong, bro. So he started when we went and lived out in Goulburn for work. He started the podcast out of the hotel room. Everyone was like, he's a fucking weirdo. Like, he lived by himself. Everyone else roomed up. And like with other guys. And he just got this hotel, was paying like, I swear, like at the time it was like a fortune, like more than everyone else. And he just like started doing his thing in there. And like, I remember he came home and he interviewed like Anthony Mundine this one time. That was the first time it went viral because Anthony Mundine was like, I'm like Jonathan Thurston, but turbo or something like that. Yeah. And that was like the first time, it like went like so crazy. And we'd always be down, just like joking around and like being like, bro, there's something better than this, you know? Like we'd always just like be talking that kind of shit. And I eventually was like, did that when we ended up getting moved back to Wollongong. We worked together for a bit. I remember the day that he came to work and he was like, I'm done. He's like, I'm not coming back. Like I think I was a 4th year or the 3rd year or something like that. And he was like, I'm done. Like, I'm going to do the podcast thing. And I was like, this is fucking insane. I was like, this is crazy. And I'm like, yeah, like, good luck, bro. Like, insane that, like, and I was like, oh my God, like, I was the one talking about him with that stuff and I haven't done anything like that. And I ended up, like, one time, like had like a run-in with like a boss at work who was like just treating everyone like shit, and I ended up going into the office. I was like, who do you think you're speaking to, man? Like I was an apprentice, like that was so out of line. I was like, he came and he like told me, he told my employer that I need a good kick up the arse because I wasn't getting to work like 10 minutes early. And I was like, if he wants me to get to work 10 minutes early, like why doesn't he just tell me instead of like telling my kind of like employer? So we got like put out, like we got the employer, then we got put out to these companies. And so I got told by my like my leading hand that this conversation happened. And I was like, fuck this, man. And they were like, oh, don't go back, don't say anything. And this was around the time that I was like, I'm not fucking doing this stuff anyway. Like I'm not going to be a Sparky when I'm done. Like, I don't care where they send me. Went into this office. I just go, where's person X? And then he like walked in. I was just like, who the fuck do you think you're calling a dog, man? Because he was like, he needs to oh no, he goes, he needs a good kick up the ass. I go, I'm not a fucking dog, man. I don't need a good kick up the ass. I go, I need to be put on something where I'm learning something. Because I was like a gym guy, footy guy. So they always put me on cable pulling. And it was just a laborious work. I knew nothing, man. I was a third year and I knew nothing about electrical. And I just go, how about you do something for me, like to learn in my apprenticeship rather than just having me pull cable? It's like, I don't need a good kick up the ass. I go, if you want me to get to work 10 minutes earlier, I will. But how about you tell me? And he like, at the time, he was like, oh, okay, like I'll put you in here, put you in there, whatever. 2 weeks I got put into the switch room. And then I got sent back to the employer. So I pretty much like got the sack from that company, just like low key, like just told me one thing and then like sent me back. Yeah. I went into Sydney to work, and then one day I was driving home from work and hadn't told my parents or anything, and just went to Australian Institute of Fitness and signed up for correspondence. So I was doing my electrical trade and doing my certs at the same time without like my parents knowing. Yeah. And then, so I was doing that, and every now and then I'd put in for a sickie and like tell my parents I was going to work, and then I'd go up to these days that you had to do up at the campus in like North Sydney. So I'd go up there, do that in correspondence, and at the end of it, I remember we were working up at like St. George Hospital, and they came around and everyone's getting the envelopes before Christmas, and I'd just finished my Cert 3, and I was like, I'm starting my business straight from this. I'm going to do outdoor training straight away. And I remember being up at the Australian Institute of Fitness, and they were like, oh, you need to get a job somewhere. I'm like, do I have to get a job somewhere? Or can I just like get my Cert 3 and get like a council space? And they were like, oh, I guess you can do that. Yeah. So the last day of work, everyone's getting these envelopes from like St. George, and they're like, oh, people are going to Botany, like Port Botany. People are going out into Western Sydney. And they gave me one. It was like out into Western Sydney. It was like 2.5 hours away. And I got it and I like opened it up, and I was like, oh man, I don't need this anyway. And he just goes, what do you mean? I go, I'm finished my trade. And he goes, yeah, but you need a job. And he kind of like laughs. And I go, yeah, but like, I'm not doing this. I'm starting my own business. And then they're like, oh, okay, like, yeah, like, good luck with that. And like walked off. And from that day, that was like Christmas. And then the next year, I like started my PT business, like just like by myself. Like I only had my Cert 3, so I was doing some outdoor stuff. I was still living at home at the time, so everything was pretty safe. I didn't really have that many clients. And I, like from that day, like from when I first started, I was like, I want my own gym. But as I found out more recently, you needed to have your ABN active for a certain amount of years before you could do a lease and all that kind of stuff. So there was all this stuff that came into play only more recently that I was like, oh, my business was better a few years ago, but I couldn't have done it anyway because I was only 2 years into business or whatever. Yeah. And so I went through just a process of like outdoor training for a bit, then went into another gym and paid rent, and then another gym offered me some better rent. So I went there, had a fallout with them like more recently, like around COVID time. And then I went outdoors and just being outdoors is cool, man. But like, you get exposed to the world out there, you know, like there's like after public holidays, like how much rubbish you see like around. So that's your area. There's smash bottles there. There's like, God knows what, like being left on the grass from people like drinking, and like your clients are just exposed to everything, including like that, and then the weather, like, and it could be raining for a week and stuff like that. And so I just like went, okay, it's time to like get my space now. Like I would have loved to have done it earlier, but I was offered like the cheaper rent and like all that kind of stuff in other gyms. So it's just like, I'll just keep doing that. And then it just got to a point where I was outdoors. So I was like, no, I want to offer my clients a place to go, not exposed to other people's clients. So paying rent in a gym. And a place where they just have like all the equipment they need, you know.
That's great.
And like it was a bit of a rough process being able to get it with some unreliable real estates, but ended up getting like just a good run and like, well, not a good run, but got it done. You know. Yeah.
Shout out to my brother Michael Farina for hooking this man up with the space. Good things to say.
Very good. I gave him a good review though, because he's like sent me the email for like the review, and I just like gave him this like massive rap.
He's a
and I'm just like, that other real estate is getting like the same paragraph, but like the opposite. Yeah. Like that, I just can't wait. I'm like want to get like revved up. Probably have like another one of these, and I'll just like let loose on it.
Well, you told me we spoke about like your previous career as an electrician. To me, it sounds like you're not a good employee. Like I'm quite similar. I find it hard to like conform to the rules of like being an employee. Yeah. For me, it's tricky. Yeah. I'm such a sporadic dude with so many ideas. Yeah. It's really hard to just go by the rule book.
Yeah. Well,
Is it similar for you?
I would probably be considered like hang that up. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. I would be considered, I think, by most employees lazy.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, cause like I would have so much other stuff on my mind that I would like not want to do their work. I hate the feeling of someone else.
Gary V says that. Do you follow Gary V?
Yeah. I have. He was one of the main guys that like back in like 2015, I was like watching. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like
he's so good, eh? Yeah. The thing I love about him is he says no one's lazy. You're just doing something you don't want to fucking do.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense because when you have something you love, or you're interested in something like 2021, you can make money doing anything. Yeah. And, you know, it takes time because I say that, but, you know, I'm hustling through some financial shit at the moment to keep this running. But when you find your ways and you work hard, you'll make money doing anything you like in the modern era. Yeah. But, you know, you take a kid who you drag him to a building site, he doesn't want to fucking pick up a shovel and do shit. Yeah. And then people go, oh, well, you go home and play PlayStation for 6 hours. Yeah. Well, fuck, that takes some concentration too. Wait. Maybe that's just that kid's thing, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for me, people go, how do you sit behind a mic for hours and talk and edit stuff up? Because I love it. Yeah. Like, so I don't want to be lazy when I'm in here, when I'm in the studio. But, man, if you put me, like, in a general job or if you put me out on a building site, I'm probably not going to be your best worker. Because it's just, it ain't my thing. Yeah. But I find that, like, for me, I struggled in real estate because I done relatively well in my profession. But, you know, like, shout out to my old bosses, man, at MMJ, because, fuck, like, they're legends, eh? And we're still got a really good relationship. Yeah. But, fuck, they must have banged their head against the wall sometimes because I'm so sporadic. Like, I would wear this sort of stuff to work to sell houses and, like, bit outspoken, and the boys used to pull me up every now and then for swearing in property videos and stuff. But
I'm that bad to swear.
I'm a bit of a unique unit like that. But for me, it's just like it was just all signs that I just needed to be doing my own thing.
Wait, so when were you swearing in videos?
Just like I'd be putting videos out there, like talking about how the property market is fucking going off. And the boys are like, you can't do that. But I'm like, but my theory is like, these are everyday people, man.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to... And the reality is, for me, when I look at the modern world, right, so they say, you can't be selling, like, say you've got Tom and Susie, right, and they're buying a house, and they're in their 60s. Well, they're like, oh, you know, like, you can't let them hear you swearing because they're in their 60s. But I'm like, Tom and Susie are Aussie battlers. Yeah. They probably tell each other to fuck off at home. And they root and they shit and they do all the same things that we all do. Yeah. Like, why am I pretending to be posh? I'm not.
Well, that's one of the... I think that's one of the things as well, like, when... Like, with my clients at the moment, right? So I've got this, like, group of clients that come to my, like, 5:30 to 6:30, and they've all got kids. And it's the first time that I was like... I've been, like... We never grow up. Like, I'm making the same, like... pretty fucked up jokes to like some of my clients, and they're like laughing, they'll get in on it, they like and then they'll talk about just like talk about what they're really thinking about when they tell their kids to do X and Y and stuff like that. And it's just like, that is like still the jokes I would make 100%, but they just have kids. It's like, they just have kids and they need to
100%.
act them a certain way. And like, it's such a weird dynamic to like see that. And then, yeah, it's like...
Well, the thing I love now is I look back, like, I've got a couple of mates who have commented on it. Like, we'll go for a walk in the morning or a run, and I'll bump into old clients that I had in real estate. And we're like mates, like me and my old clients, and they go, how are you so close, but still so connected to the people that you just sold houses to or sold houses for? And I'm like, because I was 100% myself. So they chose me because they liked who I was as a person. Yeah. Not because I was giving them some facade of who I was as a real estate agent Monday to Saturday, and I'm a different human when I go home or on a Sunday. Like, they got 100% authentic Brad. Yeah. And that's why we're still so well connected, because they follow what I do now. Yeah. And we're mates on social media, and they're like, that's the same dude. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why it's like, I think it's so important to, especially in life, just find what you love and find what your thing is and just execute on it. And you're doing that.
I think that was one of the hard things as well. Like, I won't say as many people, like, I probably have a lot of people who think I'm like the most annoying fuck like ever, like, because I'm just like, I'm so not serious. Like, I take the piss out of a lot of people, but like, everything's a joke. Don't ever, like, unless, if I'm making a joke about you, it's because I like you. Like, it's like, I'm not, the people that I don't like, I don't talk about. I'm not going to make a joke about you. I'm not going to put you in the limelight. I'm not going to like do anything like that. One of the like one of the most recent things, I made a joke the other week about someone's gym and like a cafe in it, right? And I said that I was going to make like a cafe upstairs in my gym and call it Cole Cafe, and I was going to name the gym close to what they called theirs. But like, the guy who has the gym, he is like murdering, like he's doing so well that I'm just like, because he messaged me and he was like, it was filthy. And I messaged back and I go, bro, you can't be taking these kind of things into consideration when you have a gym that's like 4 times the size of mine, like size-wise, and killing it. Like, you're killing it. Like, don't worry about what I'm saying. I'm just making a joke. I get a couple of laughs out of it, but I don't like, no one cares. Like, you're like, you're killing it. And it's... That's why I am outspoken in that way, because I kind of just like, I'll just say things. I'll like make jokes about them, like whatever. I'm pretty sarcastic. And I think that was one of the hardest things as well. Like, going back to like my bodybuilding, you try and make everything seem like it's so serious. Like, oh my God, man, I went 5 calories over, and like, I just like feel like I really like let the team down. Like, and you're constantly doing that. And I look back at some of my things, and like, because I did a whole YouTube series on my YouTube channel from like, I think it was like maybe 2 months out. Every day I filmed and edited it and uploaded at night for my whole comp. So if you look, it starts off with like summer shred or whatever it was called at the start, and then it just goes through, and I did it right up to like day 1 out, show day, and I'm like filming everything, my workouts. And so I'll just go home, edit and upload. So if you go, there's videos that are 45 minutes long, videos that are 20 minutes long, and it's like my whole prep. So if you ever wanted to like know how to prep, it's pretty much that. Like, if you watch that,
bro, I don't think people realize either how much time that takes to like sit in, edit, render a vid, upload it. Like, it takes time.
One of the things I did, like, I was looking back at this one, and obviously the editing got a little bit shitter at the end, because I was like just like so fatigued and like just like kind of like uploading it, chopping it, putting it on. Some of them was like full these transitions where I'd like hit the camera and then come out, and it was like at this other place, and then I'd like go into my food and then like bring it out, and I was like at the gym. Like, there was some crazy edits on there, and I was like, I don't even edit like that anymore now, like, because I just like don't sit down and give it that much time. I still do some edits, some YouTube videos, like how to hit your macros. There was one more recently about when me and Georgie like moved into our place, and it was a bit on like the renovations and stuff like that. And I'm probably going to do one about like my TikTok that like went crazy like the other week and stuff like that. And so like I do like random ones like that, but like nothing as crazy as the bodybuilding one. And I like, that was probably one of the things when I was doing the bodybuilding, I felt like it wasn't me, because I was like watching other people's, and my humor was there in like little parts, but I was trying to be too serious. And bodybuilding comp isn't that crazy. Like it's not that demoralizing when your body goes back to normal. Like it's like you can diet down slowly. You can still eat some shitty food and it's okay. Like you don't need to be like eating chicken and broccoli all the time. Like I made some pretty like awesome foods and stuff like that when I was there, and I had them all through comp. I got a bit over kangaroo sausages by the end of it, but like that was one of the things I was having.
Boy, I had some fucking kangaroo for the first time last week.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, bro. I was eating. I ate it for like 10 weeks straight.
How
like
good is
yeah,
it?
it's mad.
Salty too. I like salty, like a bit of salty.
Well, I used to just if you I would like get like 4 bits of bread and cook 4 kangaroo sausages in like a little bit of butter, and it would taste like a normal sausage, and I'd just like have like sausage sandwiches, and then that would be like 50 grams of protein with carbs and with fats because of the butter. Like it's just like hitting the macros.
Get some fucking
kangaroo bangers, eh? Yeah, but yeah, that was one of the things, bro. Like that was one of the things that turned me off bodybuilding, because I was like, after I was done, I was like, there's no way I can keep this up. Like trying to act like this is also serious, and there's like deeper meanings to like, this, like, why I'm doing this and stuff like that. Because I recently listened to a podcast, and there was like a conversation on it about there needs to be a deeper reason for like why you do a bodybuilding comp. And I was like, I'm like listening to it, I'm like, bro, like, what are that? Because I was talking about like, there's like, you think you're gonna like get heaps good on social and all that. And like, I know the people that did it, and they didn't really do anything. Like, I got a pretty good following. I was doing my comp prep with Riley Byrne, who like has a really big following on like YouTube.
Riley used to live here, doesn't he?
Yeah, lives in Byron now. Yeah. So we did our prep together. He did the comp as well, but in a different division. And he made his YouTube videos. I made my YouTube videos. We took photos for each other and all that kind of stuff. And like my following built up a few thousand. Like my YouTube went up. Like my YouTube hasn't got that many. I got like 133 subscribers or something like that. But it's pretty crazy. Put 133 people in a room, and that's how many people are watching your videos, which is like, it's pretty cool.
Mental,
yeah. Like when you think of that. And it was just like, I was like, there was no deeper meaning. I was always like, I'll do this, and people will think that people will become my client because they want to get shredded. And yeah, I was like, there doesn't have to be like, what deeper meaning does there have to be to like wanting to get shredded for a show and do that?
Bro, and I like the thing that I get out of this, and like you can see where your energy channels is just towards being yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and just do it for your own fucking reasons.
Yeah.
Like, because I want to, or because...
Yeah, there's definitely doesn't have to be a deeper meaning to it. I want to challenge myself, or
because I want to look a little bit better. Like, it can be so simple. And the one thing that I find in today's society is everyone's so obsessed with their phone and social that there's a lot of characters that just look exactly the same. Like, if you go to the Explore page on Instagram, hit fitness, it's just really a bunch of photos that if you crop their head off, it's the same fucking human beings. They're all copying each other or doing their own thing. That's why I love it. Like when I go to your profile, I can see a video of you vacuuming your mullet to get a style for the weekend. And then like a video of you actually running through a technique for a lift. It's just purely authentically you. And one of the things that I learned last year was just to be really confident with who I am and just be able to express that. Like for me, my goal is to be a world-class storyteller, right? So I want to be able to share my story, hope that it positively impacts people, share the stories of others to do the same. But what does that mean that I can't sit behind a mic and have banter either? Yeah. Like, just because I'm trying to be an inspirational character, it doesn't mean I can't be funny.
As soon as, if your personality comes out in any way and you lose followers from that, who gives a fuck?
100%.
And I used to always like, I would have apps that like said, who unfollows you and all this kind of shit. And that was just like such an obsessive thing. Like it took me a while to get over like some of my like insecurities. Like I would be like, because like when I was younger, I was like as tall as I am now in like year 6 or year 7, right? So like everyone got taller. Like I was like, I used to be like the big footy player and all that kind of stuff. And now it's just like, no, I'm me, and who gives a shit? And like it in like the bodybuilding, like it's like, I'm not as shredded anymore. I need to be more shredded, like whatever. I like being shredded or big or strong for me now though. It's not like, oh, who unfollowed me because I uploaded that photo of me like lifting weights and stuff like that. And it's like, I used to be so obsessed with that. And now it's kind of like, oh, if someone unfollows me, it's like, why do I even care? Because like, if I made a joke about like big things coming and spelled it with a U-M-I-N-G, like, and they don't find that funny, then they're not going to get much of my other humour funny.
Who cares? I know. Right? That's for me. I noticed last year, like, so I had this almost like this realization where when I left my job, man, there was so like everyone that I worked with was super supportive.
Yeah.
My family, amazingly, and all my mates, amazingly supportive. And I've had so many fucking great people jump on board this podcast and listen and share it and give it great reviews, which I'm really appreciative for. But I had plenty of people, especially in the real estate space, mate, what are you doing? You're going to make $100+ grand this year. Like, don't be silly, don't leave. You're doing good at this. Like, what are you gonna, like? How are you gonna make money out of a podcast? And I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll figure it out. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about, and it's what I feel like I've got some purpose to do in my life. Yeah. And you just got to block it out. Like, when I dye my hair leopard print, there'll probably heaps of people that just thought, what a fucking idiot. But I sat there and I watched The Last
What do you think when those people saw me cut my hair into had long hair and then cut it into that, bro.
That's it. And it's just like, I've watched Last Dance and I watched Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Right. And the whole doco is about MJ, but I was fascinated by this dude who just
100%.
did not give a single fuck about what anyone thought.
Yeah.
And it was funny, I was watching it back the other day and he was saying that Madonna kind of inspired him to do that sort of stuff where she was like, it's up to you how the world sees you. Yeah. And whatever they see, doesn't matter. As long as you're being yourself, it is what it is. And I'd done that, and then my hair was blonde. Everyone was like, oh, that's disgusting. And then people go, oh, don't like your tattoos. I don't care. Yeah. Right.
And you know what? If you're that good, it doesn't matter anyway, because that was one of the crazy things with him. He did whatever he wanted, and he never got kicked out of the team. If you're shit and you do that, then you're going to get kicked out of the team. Unfortunately, you're going to be yourself, and you're not going to get very far. But he was so good that he was able to do all that stuff and like go out on a bender and whatever and then come back and play, and they'd be like, fucking Dennis, like what the hell, like where have you been? And then he'd come back, he'd play a mad game, and it was like, okay, like he can do that, like he can. He probably shouldn't, but like he can do that. And that's one of the things I inspire, like that's one of the things I inspire to do, not to like so much I'm gonna show them that like I can still like be be good, and like all those people that doubted me, I don't give a fuck about that anymore. Like I used to think about that. I used to think about like the bosses that sacked me or whatever, and just be like, I'll show them, like wait until they like see me and then they'll see like whatever. And now it's just kind of like more of a joke way, like I can't believe like that video went viral, and like I'm just like, oh my god, there's probably gonna be so many people that like hate that happened and shit. Like I'm just like laughing about it.
It's
like,
funny, right? Because I had there's two things that I relate back to that. I was telling you the other day, like Daily Mail UK done an article on that. I had an article on me, Daily Mail UK, a couple of years ago, where we used to see all these really weird, like we had MMJ had like a link with Wollongong Council. Yeah. And every year we'd sell off, like auction off these little weird lots of land. They're called like unpaid rates land. Yeah. Where they maybe a surveyor has just missed like a little triangle of land in between two houses. Yeah. And it can be something like literally, there were some that were like 3 square meters. Yeah, so like tiny. Yeah. And you've got to put them online. You've got to auction them because it's technically no one's land. It's in between two houses. What they're hoping is that one of the neighbours will buy it, so it just adjoins to their lot. Yeah. But sometimes, because they're cheap ads, you get all of these inquiries. So this one time my bosses had gone away and it was up to me to sell them. And they're kind of like pissy little blocks to sell, but it's just part of the game. Like you get some great stuff off council, you get some of those to sell too. And one of them was like 10 grand for like land in Thirroul. You couldn't even access it because it was stuck between all these properties. But it was like it was literally like 10 square meters. So it was the size of someone's bedroom, but really long and skinny. Yeah. And I was getting inquiries galore. Like my phone never stopped ringing because when someone sees 10 grand for land in Thirroul, they don't look at how big it is. They just think, oh, I'm going to put my dream house on it, right? Yeah. And I said, some people, I had some dude call me. He goes, hey, can I put a house on it? I'm like, bro, it's 10 square meters. Yeah. And he goes, yeah, so like just single level. And I'm like, no, like, bro, it's smaller than a bedroom. You couldn't fit your kid in there, bro. You couldn't fit your kid's cot in there. But I had this lady call me from Daily Mail, and she was like, "Oh, we're really intrigued, about this story and what's going on here." And I kind of just told her the information, and then the next day we had was the Amazing Race Wollongong.
Yeah,
I've been running around town for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
I finished. I've got like 5-6 missed calls from my mum, and I'm like, fuck, something must be wrong. So I call mum back, and she's like, "Oh my god, have you seen?" And I'm like, "No, I just finished the Amazing Race. What are you talking about?" And she's like, "One of the girls at work was on Daily Mail on their browser, and like your face is like plastered all over it." And the article was like real estate agent, basically like putting shit on the agents for like selling land that was between people's houses. I was like, bro, don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
But she fully quoted me, and there was this, like, I don't know if you've seen my old real estate haircut. I've shared a bit.
I did. I actually have seen it.
And it's a proper giggle, right? Like, it's a full, like, I looked like the biggest, slimiest real estate agent.
Oh.
And my just big mug just, like, stretched out and blown up on the front screen. And, fuck, it was funny. But then also I had, towards the end of my real estate journey, I used to make videos. That was kind of a difference. Like, I done, like, really unique videos here in Wollongong.
Yeah.
And my mate Joe Plum,
Oh, yeah.
weapon of a cinematographer, he used to do them for me.
Yeah.
And we made this video, and we're always trying to sell the lifestyle, right, of certain areas.
Yeah.
And made this video where it was like, and you're also trying to build your profile when you're in real estate,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I had this house to sell in Mount Ousley. It was just before Chrissy. So we filmed the video, but the next day I actually sold it before I went online. I sold it off market to a contact of mine. And so I had this video finished, and I was like, well, I still want to promote it because, we've spent the money for the video.
Yeah.
So I just got Joe to put like sold at the end of it. It was a little like 30-second minute vid. And I put it out on social, so it's like the video and then it's like sold.
Yeah.
And like the caption was like, you had to read it with the caption for context. It was like, had this filmed ready to go, sold at Prada Market.
Yeah.
And like a month later, I've been at my mate's barber's for a haircut, Dan Tosky at Blends. And he texts me and he goes, "Oi, brown cardigan's ripping the shit out of you."
Oh, no, that's not a place to be. That is the worst.
And I'm like, fucking no chance brown cardigan's ripping. I'm like, why would brown cardigan be ripping the shit out of me, right? And he goes... And he goes to me, "Bro, I'm being dead serious right now. I'm going to link you." And I'm like, "How did you find out?" And he goes, one of my mates just goes, "Oh, yeah, I think one of the boys that comes through the barbershop's getting ripped on Brown Cardigan's Twitter, right?" And I click on it, and it's just a link, and it's just got the caption is, "Ha ha ha." Right? I click on, and it's my video, and I'm like, fucking, how did they find this, right? And the caption was like, "This motherfucker's made a video for a house we can't even buy." So... In the comment, one of the comments, bro, I've still got it here because I shared the other day on my Insta. I'll show you this real quickly. When I was with Joe Damon, the comedian, and we're talking about it. Oh, bro.
It's not, that is like not a place I want to be getting ripped on, brown cardigan.
Oh, like. Bro, it was so funny. We're having a proper giggle, eh? And then one of the comments was like, "This is the true housing crisis in Australia. Gino sipping a skinny latte, telling us about a house we can't buy over sick beats." Bro. But the crazy thing is, so I'm thinking, I'm sitting there, and because I'm one of those people that I quite like taking the piss out of myself.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because I'm like a pretty easygoing character. Yeah. I was crying with laughter because I was reading these comments and people were just ripping the shit out of me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is great. So I'm sharing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
I was so surprised that it didn't. I don't know why they only posted it on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Also, it's not Instagram, nothing like that. It was just Twitter. Yeah.
Nothing. Because I'm thinking, I'm looking on their Insta thinking this is great because I'm just going to, my channel's just going to blow up with so many laughs. And like would have been perfect because I'd started the podcast and about 13 episodes in at the time.
Yep.
And bro, just they only posted it on Twitter. I got fuck all views.
Damn.
And I'm like, but it was so funny. But it's that self-awareness. I was like, I knew what I was doing it for. I knew what my intent was.
Yeah.
It's just a laugh, bro. But so many people are like, "Oh, that's fucked, like, you should like," and I'm like, who cares?
Oh, as in like, wait, people were saying that was fucked, the people commenting on the or people that you know saying that's fucked, that they've like targeted you kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, who cares, bro? Like, their job is to like rip on people.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so funny. I follow this page at the moment called the 28-year-old male. Do you follow? Bruh.
No, I've heard one of my mates talks about it.
He is like, I don't know who he is, but he's like, it's almost like he's the son of Brown Cardigan. Like, and he wreaks havoc on Triple J, like on all their posts, and it'll just be like Triple J will like introduce this song, and then like on Facebook, and then he'll comment, and then like the post has like 100 likes, and he'll have 5,000. Like, and then they like started deleting it, and he goes, oh yeah, for someone who talks about like free speech and stuff, like he was like, for someone who talks about free speech a lot, like you don't really like if you got, and then he'll like put up an Instagram post saying like, if you guys believe in free speech too, don't at all ring up and request Rob Thomas every hour on the hour like all day. Yeah. And bro, it's just like these people are like coming up and like they're like requesting Rob Thomas on Triple J like constantly, and they're all like screenshotting his comment on Facebook, and then they'll repost it too. So good. Oh man, he's so good. He's one of the good trollers as well, but like he was another person that he like just rips on like maths and stuff like that as well. Just like writes the best stuff. So good, like and I reckon, but a lot of people can't handle it because everyone's so protective of that shit nowadays. Yeah. But it's another thing that Gary Vee says. Like you're gonna 100% you're gonna be offended by a shit comment. Yeah. If you get so pumped up about the good ones. Yeah, yeah. Like you're attaching your worth to someone's comments and likes and the shit. The best thing Instagram could have done was remove likes. Yeah, well that's what that's what I had to, I got used to as well. Like the first couple of days after the video went crazy, I was kind of, everyone's like, oh, you're getting this out of it? And I go, bro, I'm probably not going to get anything out of it, to be honest. Like I might get a couple of followers, but like it goes as quick as it comes, you know, like back when I was like 18, I made this video on Facebook and it got like 1.5 million like views overnight. It was just like, it wasn't me in it. So they couldn't like put it to me, but it was a video I made of like how you should eat Milo, and it was like this big glass, and I like did like I was like one scoop, and then the next scoop when I did it, the whole glass filled up with Milo, and then it was just like a little dab of like milk, and it blew up. And I remember that night I like went out and I would have been 19 or something. And I went out and I was at the Grand. I was like out and I was like showing people, I go, this is the video. And I was like, it was just getting blown up. And people were like frothing. And it's so weird because my face wasn't in it. It could have been like anyone really. But the difference with this one was like, I was going to the season launch for a Club Us sponsor. And I was like, oh, I need it. Like my hair on the sides is like gone over my ears. Like I need to get rid of it. And I was going to shave the mullet completely off that next week. And I was like, I just said to like Ash, our housemate in Georgia, I was like, oh, like I'm just going to tie the back up and tie the top up, just shave the sides to an 8. And I was like, okay, just do that. And we did it. And then they were both like, make sure you vacuum up your hair. This is where it like all began. And it's like, make sure you vacuum up your hair. And I was like, oh, okay, sweet. So I've like vacuumed it. And then I had like the nozzle off, and I was like getting like under the seats. And then I was like getting it off of me, like just like the hair that was on my shoulders. And then I was like, oh, I was kind of thinking like to myself, like, oh, there'll be hair like in my hair, like where they've shaved it. So I just got it and I was like, ran it, because I'd only cut the sides, I like ran it across the front, and it fucking stuck there like crazy. Like it stuck there like in the video. And I was like, holy shit. And I like looked at myself in the mirror doing it, and I was like, oi, film this. And I like messed it up again. And then like I did it, and then like did like the little smirk at the end. And I just didn't even think anything of it. I was like, oh, it looks pretty cool. And then I've gone and I was having a couple of beers like with my mate at my gym like before it, and I was just like messing around. I just posted it. I got the caption completely wrong because the video, the music that I used over it said it was like some fucked up trending one. It was like this chick going, hold my hair, make me gag ho. So what it was supposed to say, the caption was hold my hair, and it corrected to call because I'd done it via Siri on my phone. So when you're driving, your Siri will automatically go to call, so then you can just press a text message. It happens all the time. And so it corrects to call, and it says call my hair, and then I've posted it like not even thinking about it. And you can't edit a caption. Can't edit a caption on TikTok. So I've left and you know what? Because you don't think it's going viral, right? I didn't have my Instagram on my TikTok account, didn't have anything like that. It wasn't set up like it was some kind of thing that was going to blow up. And I've gone out for the night, like gone and had beers, went out to the bowling club. On the way back, because we were going to Pepe's, on the way back, I've like just checked my phone. I was like, what the fuck? That's got 500,000 views. And I'm like, and I'm thinking about this other one. I had this other video where I did like a stomach vacuum during prep, and I like had my gut sticking out, and then I sucked into like nothing, and everyone kind of went crazy. And that got like 180,000. I was like, because I'd been drinking, I was like, oh yeah, that looks like a fair bit. That night, I'd like walked home, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Macca's. Like, I need something to eat. So I've like gone to Macca's, came back, and I like looked at my phone. It had 1.8 million views. And it had like 1,000 comments or something like that. And I was like, holy shit, this is like fully blowing up. Like this has been like, it's been like 4 hours and it's had like 1.8 million views. I'm kind of like going, oh my God, like I've gone hard, like gone to bed, woke up the next morning, 3.4 million. Oh, and shit. It was like going through and people were just tagging people like, and to be honest, even the people that were ripping on the mullet were still kind of like, ha ha ha, like laughing, and they're like tagging their mates and like going, oh my God, like this is male contraception and stuff like that. And like, I love that shit. Like they were saying that and they're like ripping on me, but then there was just so many people like frothing it as well. Heaps of people like in the comments going OnlyFans ? And like all that. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to put my Instagram on. That was that night. So I put my Instagram on that night. And then in the morning, I've had like all these followers come through. And in my like request DMs, there was just like people going like OnlyFans, like ? Like heaps of like gay dudes and stuff like that, like requesting like an OnlyFans and like just going, by the way, love the mullet, all this kind of stuff. And I was just going, this is insane. Like, and I was just getting like, I'd wake up, like pretty much like leave my phone for a sec, go on 50 followers on Instagram. And then I'd go on to TikTok. It'd be like another 1 million views and stuff like that. Like at the moment it's at 10.5 million. Insane, bro. And there's still people like tagging people. Isn't it crazy
how you think 10.5 million people can see a video that you've posted here from Wollongong? Like, we got 400,000 people here in our area.
Yeah.
And 10.5 million people.
Well, I started to realise, so I was like talking shit about it on my Instagram story. I was like, I can't remember what I said. I was like, if you I can't remember. I was like, oh, if you care about what I say now, like if you didn't care about what I say before, maybe you will now because it's got like 3.5 million and all that kind of shit. And it just kept going up. And like after like 2 days, I was like, oh, okay. And then like Daily Mail had messaged me and been like, hey, really like your video. I want to write up a thing about it. The article that they did was like a bit like over the top, but like they had to write an article, so like do whatever you want. The overwhelming support on social, such as Instagram and TikTok, was actually really positive. Other than people like ripping on you a little bit, like as a joke and like tagging their mates, and they were just going, no, you do love it, and like all that. But when I went onto the Daily Mail or news.com, who did the first article, so news.com.au did the first article. They didn't ask me about it though. They just go, Aussie guy styles his mullet with vacuum, and they did an article. I was like, what the fuck? Like news article doing news page doing an article. Then Daily Mail contacted me. They did it. When they put up the stuff, the negative stuff in that was a bit more like, these guys are actually sad. Like I was like, they were like, oh yeah, there was people like commenting on it, just going like, nice comb over, gonna be bald in a couple of years. And I was like, that's actually like, you're actually cut. Like you're actually cut. And I was like, you can't even take it as a joke. Like all these like, on the news.com one, there was heaps of people joking. And then when it went to the Daily Mail, there's actually like people like trying to talk shit. And I was like, that's actually so sad that you're actually that cut about me mucking around. And then, and then it went to a point where like my dad got a call. They were stuck in Queensland because of the floods. They got a call off one of their mates from Queensland going, oh, Keith, are you still up in Queensland? He's like, nah. He goes, mate, if you put on the news, like Logs was just on the news, like, and like up on Queensland Channel 7. And I was like, oh, what the hell? Like, he's called me and told me this. And then there was a photo sent to me on Instagram, and there was a guy over in Canada who'd sent me just going, there was just a segment on you, like going, oh, a guy from Australia, like, styles his mullet. And then a person in the UK was like, because of the Daily Mail one, there was on the news over there, did one, and then there was people like, the biggest probably response I had was people from Texas, like massive, like they were all just like, yeah, just like frothed it. Like in regards to like my followers that I got on Instagram, it was all like Houston, Texas, or like
dead set.
Just different areas. So I probably got like 500 followers all up on Instagram. Like not a crazy amount, but they were all pretty much from there. And if I look at my analytics on TikTok, it was like 52% of the people that viewed it were from the US. And then it was like 18% was Australia, then 14% UK, and then spread out like across that.
Isn't it mental, bro? Like the way that it can just...
I try so hard with my fitness content to do something, bro. This is the thing. Like, one of the things I'm going to do, what I like got told to do was like do a rehash on it, like have a green screen with that video in the background and like do a talk on it or whatever on TikTok. And one of the crazy things is like there's so many people trying so hard to do all this like trending stuff to like try and trend. It's like the only chicks that are the only people that are trending on TikTok are chicks who are doing the trending things with their tits out.
100%.
I'm sorry, but it's either a shredded guy, like super shredded, but they don't get anywhere near what these girls get. These girls like wear like nothing, and they can do whatever the fuck they want. They can do whatever they want, and most of the time they have a link to their OnlyFans in their fucking bios as well. So they're just doing what they want to like make money, and it's perfect because they get 5 million people. If they get 50 subscribers at $10 a week or whatever, fuck, that's mad hustle. Like 100%. Do it. But so many people like are trying so hard, like I was with fitness stuff, to like trend or go viral, where I just did something stupid, going back to Gary Vee again. He goes, just document everything because someone will pick it up. And this was just one of those things. It was like, that's what I did in the moment, and I posted it, and by some divine weird like miracle, it went viral and went crazy. But I also don't get anything from it. I know, I mean, like a lot of people probably saw my face, but like I didn't sign any deals. Everyone's like, oh, you should be getting like this and that. I'm like, why? Like, who cares? Like, it goes away just as quick as it, like...
100%.
That's why it's called viral.
I love on TikTok, right? I love, there's a dude that I follow, and I didn't realise, but I followed him at the time because I thought he was just a funny cunt. And he's actually got cystic fibrosis, like me. And I didn't realise that until later on, because he makes a lot of jokes about being terminally ill.
Yeah.
We're not exactly terminally ill, but I fucking love it. Because he takes a piss out of himself, which I like.
Yeah.
But he makes these videos. His name's Blake Pavey, where he makes out he's his dad. So he walks into the room like his polo shirt.
Bro, I think I know this guy. Yeah.
And like plays like the dad sitting down talking to his son, and he's so funny.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing, just putting out an innocent video one day. And now, like, he's doing a bit of stand-up comedy, like he's breaking into... He was actually on the pod.
Yeah.
Got 500,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
He's just a ledge, bro. He's such a good dude.
But you know what? You didn't have to do the fucking dances either. But I even like, I got to a point where I was like, I might have to start doing like some of these moves. Like, and I was like going to be like, who do I even do it with? Like, you know, like, and I could probably do it now and it would be funny because it's like, oh, the mullet guy's doing the dances and shit. Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever. But I was like, oh, I might have to start like doing these dances in the gym or something like that. It was like so pathetic that I was thinking this. And people actually do it. There's this one guy that like does it heaps, and he's a full like, he almost looks like halfway between like an Eshe and like something else, but he like full dresses like hard, but then he'll try so hard with these dances. It's not a joke because there's no joking. Like he's just like doing it, and he'll get his mum to jump in, and he'll be like pretending like he like loves his mum heaps more than he does and stuff like that, you know, like, and then like it just like, it's so hard because you know that's not him, bro. You know it's not him.
After the video, he's like, fuck off, mum.
Yeah. And she'll be like, did we get that right? She goes, shut up, you didn't do the move right. That kind of shit, you know? And it's just like, it was one of those things that was like, I was fully myself in the dumbest way with no fitness stuff. And it's like,
I had a couple alright TikToks go alright during COVID.
Yeah.
Like I was sort of like working, finishing my bit of real estate stuff off at home. And I was working in my pajamas at home, just working. I'm like, fuck, like this TikTok. And I just got in TikTok. I'm like, fuck, this thing's funny as. Like, there's some funny shit on here. Yeah. And I think that the one for me that done alright, like, and it's fucking nowhere near 10.5 million. It was like just a bit over 100,000, I think. Was, you know, Vetus, that dude that he's that like singer. I don't even know where he's from. He's from Europe. I think he become famous in Eurovision where he does a song that's like and he's like I don't even know how to do it. He does that weird thing with his tongue where he's like
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
And so he wears this like white bodysuit.
Yeah.
So I done it with like aluminium foil wrapped around my head close up, and it went nuts, bro. I had fucking people messaging me from everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's just when you put yourself out there, like, and have a crack, bro.
Yeah.
Some people hate it. I had a dude who, like, I just made a stupid video on Insta a little while back, and he was like ripping on it, like commenting like, "This is gay, lol," and I'm like, dude, you reached out to me to come on the podcast 6 months ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you being salty for? Like, get over it. It's obviously not your sense of humor.
Yeah. There's that's it's like you just gotta do and you know what, if you're okay with it, there's been heaps of videos, bro, that I've uploaded before and been like, this isn't me, and I end up deleting it. Like, I'm just like, and I legit like will upload it and like put my phone down and go, nah, fuck that. And I just like delete it because I'm like, that was like not me at all.
Yeah.
And they'll be like...
And it's easy to fall into that.
Yeah, for sure. Because you're like getting caught up. You're like, these people are making it because of this. And it's like, they are. They probably had one that went viral like mine, and now I can just kind of post anything and it will like get 10,000. Like it was just like kind of like that regular thing, and they might have done one and it did that. But I did another one that went all right, and it was like me saying like, how do you stay like healthy during like the festive season? And it was like me in like every scene, like I think there was a point where I was like doing push-ups, and I like had a beer and I was like drinking it while I was doing the push-ups, and then I had like I was putting a scoop of protein, and then I'd like cut the frame and then like pour the protein out and like fill it with a beer and then like shake it up and drink it, just like stuff like that. And it was like with the montage music from Team America, and it was like even Rocky had a montage, and it was like that, and it was like that did pretty well. Like everyone got like a bit of a laugh out of that. But I think if it's only going to go so long if you're like faking it, you know, like
100%. That's the thing. Talk to me about some business ideas off the back of this. Have you seen those barbers that got really famous lighting people's hair on fire and like doing weird shit? Have you seen that? There's some that like they do this shit where it's like they'll light people's hair on fire and cut it with a sword and shit, like to cut their hair. And I'm like, so excessive and so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like at regular barbershops.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about opening a barbershop where you just use the vacuum to style people's hair?
So one thing, I was talking like the next day, like when I was posting, like I was screenshotting like people's, like the news articles and all these places, and I was like putting them on my story, and my partner's sister's boyfriend, Sonny Webster, like is the Ollie Lifter. He messaged me. He goes, "Why the fuck aren't you posting this on your like page?" And I'm like, "Bro, I already like posted the video and like posted a couple of things on my page." He goes, "Bro, you just need to be like lapping this up. Like post all this stuff on your page." And bro, you need, and then he sent me a voice memo, or a voice message, and he was like, "Bro, I think you need to bring out like a mullet styling kit, like and stuff like that." And he's like, I was just like, fuck, like I don't even think about that kind of stuff, because like even the fact that like I posted it and I wasn't prepared for what it was. I didn't even have my Instagram on my TikTok. I didn't have any of this. After like 3 million people had seen it, then I posted it, and like I didn't even think of this stuff. I don't have these like, I wing so much of my life. Like I have no idea what I'm doing, like at all. And it's just this crazy thing where like, oh, everyone's like, oh, you got a gym, and like, oh, you should have been posting this and that. I'm just going, yeah, but like I didn't think this was going to happen. Like I like even with the even like getting the gym, like I'm so impatient that I was just like, oh yeah, I got that, tick in the document, sign it off, yeah, sweet. And then I had to find out all this stuff like later. And then like with the thing, they're like, oh, you probably shouldn't put up the rig until you get a DA. I was like, how about I put up the rig, and then if I get a DA, I'll take it down. I want my clients to have the rig to do squats and stuff on. And it's just like, I just like wing so much of it. Like hopefully it works out, like, you know, and
it's a real Aussie mentality, isn't it?
Yeah, and like
She'll be right.
I don't know. That's it. And I just that's kind of the way I've always done it, I guess. Like when I needed to go into another gym, like when I first went into a gym and paid rent, they were like, oh, you have to pay this much per client. I was like, how about I just pay you $200 a week and I can do whatever I want in there? And they're like, oh, okay. Like just like stuff like that. It just but yeah, like none of that kind of like business side stuff I haven't thought of. Hey, like there's just been so much on top of that, like with the gym opening up and stuff. I just like haven't had the time like to even sit down and think, oh, what could come of this, you know? Like it's
to me it seems like you're just a doer. Like that's just what your personality is, because I'm kind of similar.
Yeah,
like I'll think about shit,
yeah,
but sometimes I don't have the patience to wait and like execute it at the right time.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just like, got this idea, too excited about it, just do it now.
Yeah. Like I'm like, I am a doer, but I'm not like a massive, there'll be days like probably today, like after this, I'm going to be so like motivated and amped up. Like I'll go out, I'll do stuff all day. But there's also days that I'll go home after clients in the morning and I'll have another 2 hours sleep because I'm up at 4 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, there's days that I'll do stuff like when I was opening up the gym, like Morgan Sport, like the equipment provider that I got some stuff off, and then SMAI up the road said that my equipment was ready. So I go to there, then I drive to Albion Park, go get that. Then I'll go to Bunnings, get some stuff for that. And then I'll go back to like Oak Flats because I bought like a lounge for the gym up there. And then I'll be going around all day and I'll get it done. But then there'll be days that I'm just like, fuck. Like, I can't be bothered to do anything.
That was me yesterday, bro. I was so exhausted.
Yeah.
Like, I got home from like, I normally wake up about 4:30, 4:45.
Yeah.
Go for a walk or a run and then jump in the ocean. I got home and I was sitting there and I had a bit of brekkie, peanut butter and poached eggs on toast, of course, and just reading my book. And I was like, fuck, I'm tired, eh? Like I was nodding off. And I lied down on the floor on the balcony and woke up an hour later. Yeah. And I was just like, fuck. And
even the thought about doing something like a podcast, it's like draining to think about, eh? You're like, I don't want to fucking talk, you know?
Yeah, I was like mentally tired. It's like, I just need to have a chill day. Just do some shit on my phone.
Yeah.
So, but that's the beauty of doing your own thing.
Yeah, well, that's it.
You have those days where you go probably harder than most people would if they were sitting in an office.
Yeah.
But you have those days where you kind of got to adjust.
Yeah. But like I'm living at the moment, like my partner Georgie, she's a freak. Like she's a PT as well. But she's like Energizer Bunny. Like I'll get home and I'm like laying on the bed and she'll just be like cleaning stuff or like doing like, she's not as like tech savvy as me, so it's like she can't really do stuff on the computer, but she'll get home and she'll be non-stop. Like she'll be like, I'm gonna go for a walk, and then she goes out for a walk and she goes, I'm gonna go to Woolies and I'm gonna go shopping, and then she'll walk up there and walk back with the bags and like just stuff like that. And like in the beginning when I first moved in, I was kind of like, oh my god, I feel like the biggest piece of shit, like like not doing anything. But then you just gotta realize like, do you
some people's personality
like if you want to be like those people, I guess surround yourself with people like that and they'll probably give you energy. But when you're trying to do it by yourself, and that's one thing with me as well, because like I'm opening the gym and I'm like not surrounded by other trainers. I'm not surrounded. I haven't really surrounded myself with like this group of like people in my gym where you see like gyms around here, they'll have like this base of like trainers and they're all doing like their staff training session and all that, and they're all like, oh yeah, and they'll film each other, and I'm just like, in my like clients are gone, and I just sit down. I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? Because there's no one to go, oh okay, let's do the programming for the week. I have to sit down and I have to program for the week. I don't have that other trainer or anything like that.
Is that something you're looking for eventually?
Look, I've had trainers in the past, man. I had someone work for me. They left and went and worked for another gym. It worked out while it happened, like it was kind of something I needed at the time. And then I recently had someone do work experience and they just like weren't a good fit. I told them like they were with me, like I'm chilled as. They needed something that was a bit more like structured and like had some routine, like go work for an Anytime or something like that. I didn't have to because I had the motivation to start my own business, but you can't be in like my situation because of like how I am with my clients and stuff, like the joking around. I'm not a robot with my clients. So for them to come in and think that it's just like about like a bit of like just run a class and don't really interact with the clients, go to somewhere where someone's paying $10 a week to do that. You know, like that's not like what mine is. So like I would like to surround myself with a team, whether it's getting like a VA or something like that I can like you see so many, like, I know it's like TV shows or whatever, but you might be like on someone and someone's got like their assistant or their manager who they can have like a call with or sit down with the computer and be like, oh bro, like I've got this idea for the gym, and then we like kind of like bounce ideas, because I can't bounce ideas. I just like throw it against the wall, and like, yeah, I can't bounce ideas off someone. So what I have to do instead is throw the shit against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
So because I can't get that like feedback.
I've been speaking about that a little bit lately with a few of my mates.
Yeah.
Like that theory for the podcast and seeing what content, because you know anything you do with this sort of entertainment or fitness space, socially, online, wherever, it's really what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're putting shit out there to the world and seeing what the world wants to take and run with.
Yeah.
And you kind of do more of that, and you always stay true to yourself and you stay authentic. But you got to find the stuff that the people enjoy consuming, or the programs that people enjoy training toward, and all that sort of stuff. And when you're by yourself, it's just, you're just, like you said, throwing
whatever, and like
sticks.
That's kind of like what happened with my podcast. Like, there's another thing that like I wasn't kind of like true to me with was, I started off like just trying to interview like gym owners and shit. Like that was my niche, I guess you could call it. But I was like, I don't want to be like, I guess I could interview some gym owners that I think are cool, but I was just trying to like push this kind of like, interview this person in fitness, interview this person in fitness. When I finished my bodybuilding comp, I hadn't done any podcasting for a bit. I started in like, I think my first episode was like start of October 2017.
Yeah.
And when I lived with my mate in after my comp, we started to like, we like set up a box. This is like one of my most favorite podcasts. I like listened back to it a few weeks ago, and we set up a box between us on the lounge, and he'd just become a cop. So he like went down to the academy, and like he just became a cop, and he was like talking about like how like he had to direct like the car driver that he was with, like, because they were chasing some guy, and then like the guy eventually got to like this main part of the road where he went in and started driving in the opposite direction, so they had to stop chasing him. And then like in person I was like, so you're like the one who like went like the wrong streets, like made him get away, and like that was kind of our laugh. So we ended up doing this podcast. We were playing 2K on the PS4 with a bottle of wine, and we were like drinking red wine while doing this podcast, and we were like playing 2K, and like I would interview him like that. And that was fucking the funnest thing, bro. Like that was one of the best. And I did the similar one with Jared Wynn. Like when he first started, well, not first started Red Dragon, but he was like starting to do really well in it, and he's killing it now. But we did one that was like the Pinot podcast, and it was like a glass of red wine, a bottle of red wine, and you drink it through the whole podcast, and you just see the podcast just loosens up more and more the whole way through. But that was kind of like, and I just went through and I was doing random shit like that. But see, my podcast is it's a byproduct of what I do. It's not what I do. It's a byproduct. Like, it's the people that I meet. It doesn't matter who they are. It could be a cop, like, who's my best mate. It could be Jared, who started a supplement company. A gym owner. I've done a heap of solo ones as well. It's
I seen on your link tree today. Were you on Twitch?
I am on Twitch. Yeah, I love.
What do you do on Twitch?
I barely even know how to use it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just signed up to it because people were using it. I follow this one guy. He's a couple of like fitness commentators. There's this guy like with real long hair that I like listen to, and he does like, used to do the Natty or Nots, but now he like does Twitch and like does like, he just like kind of comments on other people's stuff, like similar to that. Do you know that Derek More Plates More Dates? He's been like mentioned on Joe Rogan stuff a little bit. So they'll like watch someone else's YouTube and they comment on it next to it. And he's got a Twitch. He'll be like, oh, catch me over on Twitch, and we'll talk or whatever. And then there's another guy, Max Tuning, that I follow.
Yep.
Love him. He is like one of the my favorite YouTubers, and he's always on Twitch. So he'll be like playing Fortnite and just like talking to people about product launches and stuff like that. Yeah. And I was like, I'll just sign up to Twitch. So I just like made a Twitch. I haven't actually used it yet, because I don't have a camera to like film me while I'm doing it. I would only have like to be a mic to like talk to people. So it's it's like one of those things. I kind of just did it and like was kind of excited at the time. But then I was like, how's this actually going to work? You know?
Because you know what, it's one of the things I'm looking to do in here is, so I'm starting as of this week. So for everyone listening, we're filming this on a Tuesday. This Wednesday, which will be the 31st of March, starting like a companion style pod once a week. We're on a Wednesday night. I'm just going to get a couple of boys in here, a couple of mates, maybe even a couple of chicks sometimes, just to talk like trending topics, pop culture, and just like put out something that's a little bit more just entertainment focused as opposed to deep, in-depth, educational or inspirational chat. And I'm thinking about just streaming it live on Twitch.
Yeah.
And just because that's a platform that fascinates me, the way it works and the way that
it's a big platform.
Bro, creators make money off it. You get the donations, that sort of thing. And as a creator, you got to think of any way, shape or form that you can blow your shit up and make some more money out of it so you can continue to invest in it.
Even if you just like did that, and you mean like you'd actually be like playing games and stuff like that?
Bro, no, just chatting, just live.
Okay. Is that, okay, I didn't even know. I thought Twitch was like, you had to be gaming while you did it.
Just bro, live.
Yeah, right, okay.
Because, you know the YKTR boys?
Yeah.
They've been doing the same thing with Footy Companion.
Okay, right.
So they've been doing it, and I think Den and Kemp starting to do a bit of that stuff too.
Oh, he's got the mad studio now. Have you seen his new studio?
His new studio is sick. And what I like is that he's a dude who's known for his rugby league.
Yeah.
But he's taken on Dill, the dude that does the AFL stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's sick. Just like building his umbrella just to sports.
Yeah.
Why not? Get him on the crew. So I actually spoke to him a little while back, probably a year ago now when I launched this, saying I'd love to have him on the pod, but I'd love to have him on face to face one time. Yeah. He's a legend, eh? He's done so well for himself, just off being himself. Yeah.
Well, he just like, it started off like, a lot of it was like him interviewing people and like, he got some like good guests and stuff on. I think he's like, I honestly think like during COVID, he was like, during COVID and now he's keeping everyone interested in rugby league. Like as in, I was over footy until I started watching. He's like,
he has done so much for the game. It's not even funny. Yeah. He's brought personality back into league. He's given us the insights of who the players are off the field, which most people are more interested in now. Yeah. Than like, I love seeing who a dude is off the field, or like what interests him in business or in, in his personal life, as opposed to just seeing these people as athletes. It humanizes the game a little bit.
Instead of seeing the shit, like just the news going, oh, this person got done for this. And then Kemby will like do that. And then he'll like post like why he like, just be like, oh, come on. Like, oh, this guy got in a fight. He goes, and then he'll like write up something going like, oh, what would you honestly do if your mate was like, or this chick that you were with got like hassled, like, it's like, if anything, they should be giving him an award or some shit like that.
Bradley?
I don't know. Oh no, that one was mad too. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Bro, because I watched it. So I interviewed Scope and Jordan Simi for the YKTR boys recently, and bro, like those dudes were just once upon a time to me footballers. It's been amazing to see. Well, Scope, Simi didn't play league here, but it was amazing for me to see the evolution of these guys behind a mic in front of a camera actually figure out who they are as human beings, and the talented guys. Yeah. Like, they deserve to have a space to speak their mind. And, bro, the thing that got me is this. Is it Toby Rudolph, the guy that plays for Cronulla, who in his Fox Sports interview the other day, like, post-game, was like, post-round one.
Oh, is that the long hair, bro? Yeah.
And they go, what are you going to do to celebrate the win? And he goes, probably go sink 1,000 schooners at Northies or whatever and try to pull something.
Pull something. Anything is good.
Goes, anything is good. And he goes, nah, just kidding. Probably, do some recovery and that. And I'm like, but then he gets fined, bro. He got fined like 20 grand.
Yeah, I didn't know he got fined.
And the NRL I'm like, mate, like, why can't they be themselves?
It's fucking...
Why can't they? I love, bro. I know we're different here in Australia, our culture in New Zealand, but I love watching American sport and just seeing like someone come out and be like, we're going to pump them this week. Yeah. I'm like, fuck, I can't wait for that game now. Yeah. It's exciting, bro.
It's just like, that was, it was that. And another one that sticks to me is when, who is it from, Curtis Scott from Canberra? Who was the one?
Yeah.
He when that news article came out about him saying he assaulted police.
Yeah.
And it turns out like he just had a big night. He'd passed out, and then they handcuffed him while he was passed out, and were like pushing into like his shoulder and like rubbing their knuckles on his chest, which is like such an intimidating thing. Like imagine you waking up, like he doesn't know where he is. Like imagine you waking up thinking you're in bed or something like that, and someone's holding your arms behind your back, and he just like fought off a little bit. He didn't do anything. If anything, it was the police that assaulted him. And then the news article comes out, and then like luckily like people like Kempy and stuff are like so onto that. It's like you get to see the actual video, and you're like, what fucking story are these people trying to pull? Of just like making these people look like the shittest people, like, and they just think about like what you do in a day and what would happen in that situation. Would you actually go out and just like punch a cop? Because that's what the news are trying to make it look like. And instead, it's just like what you would actually do. What would you do if someone like hit you in the back of the head? You might turn around and hit them back. Instead, they're saying NRL player fined for assaulting like club goer or something like that. And it's like, no, the club goer actually came up and like hit them.
Insulted him, and
come
he just
on,
defended
like
himself.
and it's like, but then again, like you can't like. No one's like they're trying to obviously create heroes and villains in these stories. Where if it's a football player, a police officer, anything like that, everyone's a human. Everyone does something wrong, and everyone like no one's doing something ever really that like crazy beyond your belief. Like you're like, oh my god, how did this football player do this? Like why didn't he even think about it? It's like you're only reading one headline. It's like just imagine. Probably something you would do, and then that's probably closer to what the story is. Like, it's always getting like blown out of proportion.
I think that's the power of the negative power of news, but also, you know, we've got a positive opportunity with social media and podcasts and having our own brands and media outlets and companies as just everyday individuals now, where we're able to share some of those truths and get away from just the manipulation of modern day news and the way that they like to shift a story. But it's interesting, bro. We've been going for 2 hours.
I know. This is like a Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, bro, this is Joe Rogan. Who's that? This is the experience. Nah, shout out, Joe. Love you, bro. I know you listen to the show every week.
Credit to anyone who's been listening this whole time.
Yeah, I know. Actually, the camera just turned off literally like a minute ago. It's obviously overheated. It's getting warm in the room when you got two good-looking characters and the mullet lord sitting behind the mics for 2 hours. The camera's bound to overheat. So I guess we'll wrap it up there, bro. I really appreciate you coming on.
No,
One thing I want to make sure is that everyone who's watching, listening, wherever you're tuning in, whether you're seeing a clip of this on Instagram or on socials, I want to make sure that they come over and follow you for all the goodness that you post, but also can get behind your business and the great stuff you're doing in the fitness space. So where's the best place to find all that?
Look, it's I've changed pretty much like everything to Logan Cole with 4 E's because I couldn't get it. Like there's clearly a few Logan Coles in the world, which that's mind blowing. But just Logan Cole with 4 E's at the end. Logan Cole Coaching is my current like business page. I've got the podcast, which is Logan Cole's Convos. That's got its own fitness page as well. Instagram page as well. But yeah, mate, most of the stuff, if you just go to Logan Cole with the 4 E's at the end, that's got my link tree. That's got everything there. And that's it.
Epic. Get around him. Get around the mullet lord.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on, brother.
No worries, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Pleasure.